Morning all, hope you're all doing. Morning Kennelly, how you doing? As you can tell, my voice, I've got COVID. Well, obviously you can't tell it's COVID, but I was coming down with something last week which I thought was man flu. It's actually COVID. I can't even walk 100 meters without falling over and running out of breath. It's hideous. Tried to walk the dog at the weekend along the seafront and literally had to sit on the grass because I couldn't walk anymore. I was that out of breath. Crazy for somebody that does like 8 spin classes a week and 15 miles a day on a spin bike. I can't even walk 100 metres. It's not a nice strain of COVID, this one. So I will do the best I can this morning, but obviously not feeling 100% this morning. So, morning David. Which is a shame because we've got a busy week this week. Morning Soren. Good morning America. God, you're early. Good night America. So this morning, just a quickie before I do the news overview. We've got a big gap on the DAX, all indices actually this morning, so not just the DAX. Everything's gapped down this morning, which I was kind of expecting a gap this morning. I wasn't expecting quite such a big gap, but it's a biggie. So I'm playing the fade of the gap this morning with some small positions, little tiny quarter-size positions with big stops on. These have got 80-point stops on. And looking to try and build a position this morning. I'm quite happy to get stopped out of a few of these this morning. Just 0.25%, in the hope that I can build a position to get this gap fill done at some point. I think probably this morning, maybe this afternoon, but hopefully this morning, because we've had 4 solid down days on the trot now on the DAX. So I'm likening it to this sort of position that we had previously. We had, when we get these big drops start, they tend to last 3 or 4 days, and then stocks become so cheap, the market just physically can't sit there and go, oh, I can't sell any more of this, I need to buy some more of this because it's cheap. And the buying frenzy tends to start and push and push and push. And then you get people taking profit on short positions, and it just becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy where we get one of these big green days in. We're on day 5 now. We've gapped down, big push, so I'm looking basically for the value buyers to start stepping in now, and I'm hoping at the open we're just going to fly and try and do some kind of gap fill. So I'm building a position with small positions in at the moment. I had 4 on. I've been stopped out of 1 this morning. It's only a little one, as I say. It's 0.25%. Friday, by the way, I completely undid all that stupid loss on Friday. Monster day, just rode that trend all the way down on Friday, just literally nailed virtually every trade. So this is the real life swings and roundabouts of trading. You're going to have mostly normal days where you're bagging, 0.5%, whatever. You're going to have nightmares where you just cannot get it right no matter what you do. You're totally out of sync with the market. You're tuned out completely, and then you'll have days where you're tuned in completely. Just so happens I had them back to back. That doesn't normally happen, but it was great. So just one of those days, Friday, which was lovely. So that's the plan for this morning, indices wise. I'm not sure where we're going to end up today. We could well just do a massive doji and end up back to where we started. No idea, but I am looking for some buying power. Hopefully we just get it out the gates and it goes. And if it does, I'm just going to start adding in with slightly tighter stops and larger position sizing to see if I can maximise on the potential of that push up. News wise, big week for news. We've got nothing today. It's dead today. Morning Andrew. Morning David. Yes, COVID. Yeah. Bleh. Alan even. Morning Stevie. Doesn't sound like me. No, this is my Darth Vader impression. I am your father. No, I'm just really COVID bound. So, excuse me. I have a completely uncontrollable cough. Sometimes it sounds like I'm hacking up half a swimming pool. So bear with me this morning. I'm not sure it's going to be a particularly long room this morning. And also I've got a tiler arriving this morning to retile my bathroom, which is not good. I'm locking myself away. The wife's dealing with him, so I don't have to get anywhere near him. It's funny how people's view of COVID have changed now. Like 6 months, 8 months ago, we would have been like, oh, he's got COVID, don't go anywhere near his house. Now it's people like, oh, that's all right, I'll wear a mask. I just don't care about it anymore. It's bizarre. But anyway, this is my second COVID bout. Way worse than the first one. Way worse. This is worse. I don't feel that bad. I just literally, I can't do anything. Climbing the stairs. I went and bought some gravel at the weekend. Well, I didn't. My wife did. Bought some gravel at the weekend from the garden centre. Slate to do our beds. I carried, these are 20 kilogram bags of slate. I carried 4 of them round to the back garden. Literally had to sit down for 10 minutes after carrying 4 bags from the front garden to the back garden. Absolutely crazy. Really knocks you for 6, this one. So anyway, yeah, the vaccinations are great. At least I'm not in hospital. I guess if I hadn't been vaccinated, I wouldn't be sitting here. Who knows? Who knows? You haven't got a clue, have you? Anyway, so quickly news before the market opens. We've got 3 minutes before the market opens. We've got massive news week this week. PPI for the US dollar tomorrow. Today is a dead day. Nothing happening at all. PPI tomorrow. Wednesday, we've got retail sales at 1:30 pre-market. We've got Lagarde speaking in the afternoon, and then it's FOMC and the rate announcement for the Fed. Anticipated to go up 0.5%. Don't think they will change that. I think we probably will get the 0.5. The Fed's pretty good, as you can see. When they say something's going to happen, that's really what tends to happen. It's very rare the Fed has to step in and do something untoward. So 0.5% increase, it's factored into the market. However, we will probably still get some massive movement off the US when it's confirmed. Press conference after that, we tend to get a lot of questions about the rate increase and future rate increases. They tend to drop hints as to what they're planning to do with future rate increases, which then tends to send the market into a frenzy. So Wednesday is the biggest day of the week. Retail sales is usually pretty impactful. And then we've got FOMC. So we should have a really good movement day on Wednesday. Possibility of today and tomorrow turning into accumulation days across all FX pairs while we're waiting for this to happen as well. So we could well just have a completely quiet day. Ahead of FOMC and rate announcements, we tend to get 1 or 2 things happening. Either the market moves and reaches for a level it wants to achieve and then reverses it on FOMC, or we get the accumulation week where nothing happens, and then FOMC, they take it off in the direction they want to move the currencies. Thursday, we've then got Aussie unemployment, we've got the Swiss rates and the Swiss Press Conference, then we've got the UK rates, and it's just basically rate bound. It's every single fundamental shift you can get is happening this week, so it's a massive week for everything. The biggest currencies, we had Euro last week, we got pound now, everything's happening to sort of stabilise this rising inflation, and it's all being announced this week. So really, really big week for movement. Then on Friday, we've got Powell speaking. Everything else is pretty quiet, but we have also got the monetary policy statement for the yen. So Kuroda is going to be laying out more about what he's planning for Japan, and how they're going to dig themselves out of the hole that they're in, and the press conference. That's at some point. Usually it happens somewhere between 4 to 6 a.m. in UK time, coupled with retail sales on Friday morning for the pound, which is an orange news. But the way the pound is going at the moment, I would be very careful about orange news on the pound as well. So today, flat. Tomorrow, volatility pre-market. The rest of the week, hold on to your hats, basically. We had bad news for the pound this morning, all GDP down, which has obviously tanked the pound this morning. So I put a note in the Telegram group, just be careful of trying to mean revert this pound. The pound is not happy at the moment, and there's nothing positive coming for the pound this week. So be a bit careful trying to ride this back up. But we'll see. Right, so 5 minutes to the open. Oh no, sorry, we just opened. God, I didn't even notice the open. Look how quiet that was. Wow. That's really quiet. Okay, yeah, market's open. Ugh. Wow, that's a really quiet open considering the considering the gap. I'm quite surprised how little liquidity we've got in the market this morning. Really, really docile open across the board. Okay, that's not a bad thing. So hopefully what we'll get is a slow grind climb this morning, back up, and see if we can get that done early doors. Then it opens the floodgates basically for the rest of the week. This week I think we are probably going to continue down. I really think there's a correction coming though because of the speed of this movement. There's going to be a lot of people viewing cheap stocks. There's going to be a lot of people wanting to take profit on short moves across all indices. So this is 4th down day now on US indices, and we are at critical levels here for the US indices for bounces as well. There's a lot of people going to be buying up the lows. It's just all pointing to an update potentially I think today, so hence the long bias at the minute. Morning Diamond. Morning Siren. I've already said morning to you. It's worse because the body fights heavily. Yeah, it's certainly fighting. I don't feel that bad. I just got this hideous froggy throat because I've been coughing crazily and just don't have any energy. But I have been overdosing on night nurse as well, which is also good. You might have already said, but are we looking for a bounce off the 13,288 area? 13,288. Down at lows here. But yeah, I mean you'll get a bounce. Likelihood is you will get a bounce from there, but I don't think it'll be a bounce. I think it'll be a buying intraday. It depends. The thing with these with all levels is it depends when you get to the levels. If you were to get to this level after having a day like that, you're going to stop or just pull off the lows. If you get to this level from an open here, chances are you'll get a bounce and you'll get a slam through on the day. So you'll get some kind of reaction. There'll be a load of limit orders sitting there. There will be a lot of limit orders sitting there. It depends how strong the selling is at the time you get there. But yeah, I think we'll get a bounce there. But I don't think it's going to be a sustained bounce. It's just going to be part of the downward move. So we're just going to... we're coming down to challenge these lows, and I think we're probably coming to slam these lows. I think we'll take those out. Short. We'll have a look at FX pairs and gold and everything in a bit. Just going to trade the open first. So I've got 3 positions running on my my funded account. I'm just going to close one of those out. Or should I close it? Do I want to hold or do I want to close? So this is Friday's close rather. Ultimately, that's where we want to aim for. It's obviously a long way away. And the fact that we've got very little liquidity this morning, this is really quiet this morning. I get the feeling we're going to have a slow trend day all the way up there. So, mind you saying that, there's a lot of buying coming in now. So I'm tempted to just let it kind of run today. don't really want to add, what's that, 1,000. Yeah, I'm going to take taking 2 off. Break even the other one. So basically, I've just banked $650 on the funded account, or $600 odd. I'm going to let this one run. This is the evaluation account, by the way, still the 100k evaluation. I've basically just banked that on my funded account because it's just 500 quid for breakfast. Might as well take it when it's there. I'm going to let this run. So I've got basically another 3k to go. I'm on day 6. I was hoping to have finished it Friday. When I would have finished it Friday if I hadn't had that stupid day. That morning I was $800 up that morning. If I hadn't have come on and traded the ECB rate announcement, I would be sitting on $800 profit there quite happily. Account shut for the day, done. And then Friday I'd have hit target, but I stupidly tried to overtrade on Thursday, which ballsed it up. But anywho. Okay, so we're going nicely for a red to green move. I'm just watching this level here. Which is this low for a reaction. So you can see I've got 2 TPs set roughly at that area. So I'm going to take some off when we get there. And then I'm going to wait for a pullback and try and scale in. Assuming we are going to go for the fill this morning. I'll just put a message in the Signal group. Close out some profits if you want to. Ming, your buy is solely based on making the fill because there was a break for the downside an hour ago. The market only opened 10 minutes ago. Yeah, my decision for the buy is, gap fill. So if you look at it on a chart that's like this, that doesn't have pre-market broker data, you can see clearly the gap. Yeah, that's where we closed on Friday. This is where the Frankfurt Exchange opened the DAX. That's the gap. Yeah. You look at it on the hourly as well. Look. So yeah, it's a big old gap to fill. So that's the reason for the trade. Gaps get filled. They don't always get filled the same day though. So, but the reason I'm more, not so much confident on this one, but more aggressive on this one is the fact that we've got 5 down days and we've gapped down. There's a lot of people who are just going to see stock as cheap this morning and want to buy stock because it's cheap. And as that starts to happen, a lot of people that are short will want to probably take profits on their positions, which means they will start becoming buyers, offloading stocks to the people that want to buy the stocks, which means that more stock gets bought and it just becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. But that doesn't always happen. Yeah, we're in a massive bear market at the moment. So this gap here could well hold. This gap could stay in place all week and we could come back and start and do it next week. Don't know. They don't always fill the same day. But I just think after 4 solid down days of selling, there's a certain amount of selling that just has to stop because there's no sellers left in the market. People just stop selling stuff because you can't sell stuff you haven't got. And as stock is devaluing in price, people don't really want to necessarily sell it. They're looking to buy it up. But this is FOMC week as well, which is, anything can happen FOMC week. So there's our opening range. So we're retesting the opening range high. So any kind of pullback into the opening range high into this initial propulsion gap would be a good area to start buying up potentially if we're going to do this fill. So just got to have a plan in place basically. You've got to be long or short at the open. If I've got a gap to go for, I'll go bias long. If the market tells me that it doesn't want to go long, I'll flip short. But you've got to have an initial opening bias. As soon as you start trading any index, you've got to have a bias, long or short. Whether it's right or wrong, you've got a 50-50 shot, haven't you, at the end of the day. But you've got to have a bias. You've got to have a reason and a plan for a trade when the market opens. And if I'd have been short biased this morning and it had done that, I'd have gone, right, well, I'm wrong. I'll wait for a pullback and now I'll flip long. As it happens this morning, I was on the right side. And that's where you make your money. If you're on the right side, bias-wise, when the market opens, that initial trade can make your day. You're done. 50% of the time, you'd be right. One thing I used to do in stocks, which is what one of the guys that was teaching me said to me, if you are unsure about a bias for the day, basically on the Monday, if you've really got no idea, pick one, yeah, and for the rest of the week, stick with it. Yeah, you've got 5 trading days. Yeah, every single day, if on Monday you haven't got a clue and you want to go short, for example, make sure you just go short on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. What are the odds of you being wrong every single one of those days? Not very high, is it? Yeah. It's a 50-50 shot. So there's a good chance 3 or 4 times you'll be right. Yeah, because your odds are always 50-50. Market, when it opens, is either going to go for a run to the up or the downside. So if you just pick south every day, if this week 3 out of 5 it decides to go south, happy days. If it only goes 2, at least you've got 2 winning days, haven't you, out of the open, and then you can adjust your bias after the open. But if you can get those opening range trades, those opening trades in the bank 2 times or 3 times a week, job done. A lot of people just make their money on this. Like this morning, I could have banked 1% up there. A lot of people make the money just there, and then they're done for the day. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way every day. Okay, so we're putting back into the propulsion gap. So looking basically for all the buyers that pushed us and propelled us up to this level to step in and defend their positions and start buying up again now. Second leg, so looking for some green to start filtering in. There's not a lot of liquidity at all there at the moment. Very quiet this morning. And that's a fair amount of movement on a quiet market as well. So it's, if we do get a lot of action starting, we've got some potentially some big swings today. Right. I'm talking the idea of just going to look at the FX market and seeing if we can get this hit. A little bit of buying trickling in. Okay, I'm going to have one more position. I've gone up to 0.5% with a 40-point stop. So all these are 0.25% risk with 80-point stops. So these are more of a position trade. So I'm basically taking a position, scaling in to play the swing. This one, pending, will be kind of more of a normal size position. We've got some sellers stepping in now though. That's dead. Well, I'll have a quick look at the FX market. If this is going to be a slow grinding day, we're not going to see a lot of huge volume spikes and big candles coming in. It's going to just grind. So it's not going to be that exciting, I don't think. But that's the plan. So I've got these three swing longs, two coming off at this area here, one runner to fill the gap, and then I'm taking an additional position with larger position size, which I will again probably take off there just to try and scalp some of these swings. So buy the lows, scalp out, buy the lows, scalp out. What I'm a little bit worried about today is a bit of whipsawing, because there's low liquidity. We might get some big wick candles, so keeping it fairly wide, 40-point stops. But at the moment we're not going anywhere, so we'll leave it there for a sec. Right, FX wise, no ADRs today. Big bunch of sellers just stepped in. No ADRs today so far. Obviously nothing on the weeklies. Monthlies, we've still got these yens mainly have been hit. So US dollar yen, the pound yen, the euro yen, and the CAD yen. So that's all based off that yen strength that we saw coming through. The euro Swiss and the US Swiss based on the Swiss franc movement. So the euro Swiss obviously had big push from June all the way up and came straight off these highs. So we hit that monthly range very, very quick within a couple of weeks, and we got the bounce already. So all the ADRs, all the monthly ranges basically are all kind of playing out at the moment. Things like the US dollar yen are still there though. So these yens, where it's just been very weird, the yen. Oh, we hit 135. When did that happen? Oh my god, I missed it. Happened in Asia, that's why. Totally missed it. So we've been waiting for 135 to get hit for ages, which is where Kuroda said they were happy for the US dollar yen to devalue too. We hit it, came straight off of it, and we pulled back down into support, which is now being rejected. So we're at a critical point here on the yen, on the US dollar yen. So we've got this level of support here, which we tapped straight into and bounced back off. We've tried again this morning and rejected. So we are trapped now between the buyers and the sellers. All the limit orders sitting there, wanting to go lower, and everybody protecting this breakout high here. So this zone here is going to act as a critical level. I suspect we'll see a load of bouncing around here until FOMC, and FOMC is really going to decide the fate of the US dollar. So missed it. That was a beautiful trade this morning. Anybody get on that this morning? Very quick, but we haven't really gone very far. But this is the level, I think, if we get this 3-bar reversal in and we can break that back down below these lows, this is potentially where we might see some strength starting to come through on the yen. But I don't think we're going to get anything coming through on the yen until we've got FOMC out of the way. So later on this week, we got a monetary policy statement from Kuroda on Friday. So this could be the week. So yeah, US dollar yen obviously at monthly highs. Big opportunity for a big drop. All these yens now started to come down on the New Zealand dollar. Pound obviously coming down anyway. Euros failed. Swissy, CAD. So you can see we've got strength of the yen. The yen is powering up, but we've had that big strong push on the US dollar to take it up to that 135 level. So if the US dollar goes a little bit neutral and we get any kind of yen strength, that US dollar yen is going to come down fast. Probably extended on the 4 hour. Yeah, extended on the 4 hour as well. So good opportunity for that US dollar yen short. You could either play it with a stop and just literally that is worth a go after this massive push. We've had no selling on this at all. We've had a couple of little flags, nothing else. So this thing's due a big old drop. Diamond doing it from Friday with initial position. Yeah, it's a good looking opportunity that for a short mean reversion play. We've been embedded on the RSI since we got that breakout and we haven't looked back. FOMC, if they're in any way bearish in FOMC, the US dollar is going to weaken. I'm really hoping, just for the economies of the world, that the US dollar maintains its strength or strengthens a little. But I get the feeling, with the way that inflation is going and everything around the world, and the fact that they're putting rates up and it doesn't seem to be having any impact, oil is still going up, etc., etc. I get the feeling the US dollar isn't going to be as strong as we think it is. And if Kuroda comes out Friday and says anything that is massively hawkish on the yen, this thing's coming down fast. Climbing up the stairs, falling down the elevator shaft, straight back down to the 24 within days. So it's a good spot to start getting in up there. I mean, you've got nothing. You've got nothing that way. These levels here are from 2000 and can't remember where they're from. 2000 and something. Haven't even got them on my chart. These are really old levels. Really, really, really old. So just, yeah, go. So yeah, that's good. So that's all we've got on the ADRs. There's nothing else on ADRs, monthlies, weeklies, anything else at the moment. So I have an Indie that sends a push notification when price reaches a level. Yeah. Well, you can do that with MT4 does that. You just set an alert, and if you've got push notifications set up, all those alerts will get pushed to you as well. But I just obviously wasn't watching it. I just want to see quickly what's going on with the DAX. So buyers are stepping in. at support, so potentially it's a pullback long. I'm still going to leave that position there. I don't want to get in just yet. I want to see a little bit more strength. We've got nothing coming through at the moment. It's very very liquid this morning. It's the odd algorithmic push, but nothing exciting there. So yeah, no ADRs at the moment. As I said, this week, visualize Monday and Tuesday a little bit like that potentially. So one of two things happens. They either reach for a level, as they have with the US dollar yen, or we have an accumulation week where you just get rotation like that in the, it's just range bound until we get FOMC out of the way. Then they'll just go where they want to go. So it can be quite a tricky week this week. Hourlies, we've got a few. We've got Aussie US. I'm not going to cover everything this morning because I can feel my throat wanting to give up. So apologies for that. I'll try and do a bit more in depth tomorrow if I can. Aussie US extended on the hourly, but selling coming in now. Quite a bit of selling coming in. That's actually not that bad. So we're nicely extended and embedded on the Aussie US. Very similar to what we had here. A little bit of a pullback. Got a little bit of a pullback. The Aussie dollar is floundering at the moment. And obviously we've had that US dollar strength we've just seen with the US dollar yen that's come through. Probably only temporary. But looking basically nice for pullback plays, but I would much rather be, I think, shorting this one long term. It's only just extended, and it's come out of a deep extension, so you would have probably already been in this one around about there. Probably one, maybe two positions. So if you didn't get out there, you're getting into second positions down here, definitely. So it is tired. We should start to see a pullback coming through, and you've got some decent levels to aim for there. So if we get that W pattern forming, look for a support bounce. I'd rather be short on the Aussie US at the moment though. Euro US dollar shorts. Yeah, I mean, I still don't want to long this. After what happened with the ECB announcement last week, I don't really want to be long on anything euro. I'm still short bias on the euro. So I'm looking basically for any euro strength that gives you any RSI extensions, any decent support resistance levels that we get back to and see any kind of rejection at. I'm looking for shorts on everything euro still at the moment. Everything euro, everything pound, just looking for shorts. So anything that gets extended to the downside is kind of where I would be looking to take profit on stuff rather than get into stuff. You are likely to get pullbacks, but I would much rather be getting in at those pullbacks and scaling in short on those pullbacks than trying to get to a target long, just because it's just weak still, massively weak, the euro. We haven't got any euro news. Oh, we've got the Swissy this week, yeah. So obviously the euro, the Swiss franc influences the euro. It's Europe. So it's all Europe. This is all going to influence the euro this week because biggest trade partner is announcing what it's doing with rates as well. All these rates are going to affect international transactions as well because of money being borrowed on international transactions. That's all affected by the interest rates. If we come out at 1.25, fine. If we come out any different to 1.25, it's going to be hell let loose basically. So the SNB rates as well. The SNB don't change the monetary rates very often. It's just not done. The Swiss National Bank is kind of somewhere the money gets moved through. It's a safe haven for the rich, and you tend to find a lot of money flows into and then flows out of the Swissy. It flows through the Swiss bank. So these overnight rates will affect how much money gets pushed through the Swiss banks. It's not in the Swiss bank's interest to change these. They want a stable playing field where they can be a safe haven for money to get pushed in and out of. So it's not very often that will change anything. But if it does change unexpectedly, then again we'll get a big move off of that. So all of these things that could potentially happen this week are more than likely going to be negative euro than positive. So not really interested in trying to long the euro at the minute. More selling coming in on the DAX. I'm just going to cancel that pending. So this is a deep pullback at the minute on that initial move. 61.8. So just watching this level, see how it reacts down here. See if we get some buyers starting to step in. At the moment we've got a lot of sellers. We've got 3 minutes left on this candle. It's not sustained selling, it's just the odd flurry coming through, so hopefully that's okay, but see, a wise man in hindsight would have taken the 1% there and be ready to scale in again now. Hindsight. So I'm just wondering whether I want to kill this and just go back to trading normally rather than trying to position trade this. I don't really want to take a 0.75 loss on this if this is going down further. Obviously this is selling off like a nutter at the minute, so it's just we have not had that one green day yet. It's very rare. 5 down days on the trot without a green day is very, very rare. But gapping down that far after 4 down days is also not normal. So this is the market after all. Completely irrational. I'm just seeing if we're holding this 68 level, getting some buyers stepping in down here. We had this big strong push up into here. We tried to reject this level again here, which I'm just looking for signs of rejection basically, see if we get some buyers stepping in and just holding the market up this morning. How come you deleted the DAX long at 547? Because it's so far away. I want to get in. If I'm going to get in long now, I'm going to get in long somewhere down here. I don't want to get in long up there. But if I get in long up there, by the time it's got there, it's pushed. It's going to be ready to pull back, isn't it? So if I get in there, I'm probably likely to go into immediate drawdown. I missed it. Pending orders, yeah. I had a pending order above there because what I was looking for was this to push up to the next leg up here. It didn't do it. So that trade is now invalid because it's not what I was expected to happen. Didn't happen. I don't want to leave that in the market and forget about it. Jesus, this is really selling off this morning. Wow. Market not happy. Okay, so that 5 minute candle's closed. I'm looking for a bullish engulfing off of this. I want to see some buyers stepping in down here. If buyers don't step in down here, I'm probably going to exit this, just take a little bit of loss on it. Quite surprised it's actually pulled back that far. We'll see. I'll come back to that in a second. So yeah, Euro US dollar we're talking about. Yes, likely to get some kind of pullback But as I say, if you're going to take this as a mean reversion trade, obviously you are trading against the trend. It's pretty obvious you want to ideally be shorting this. So I'd rather wait for it to push up, but there is a good mean reversion opportunity there, and if you're going to take it, you want to be in and out of it by Wednesday evening, because if you get to Wednesday and they do power up the US dollar, this thing's not coming back. So you need to be out of this by Wednesday. If you just go into an accumulation, you find yourself in drawdown Wednesday lunchtime, get out. So it's either going to go like that, or if the US dollar continues to power up and the euro just continues to dump, it's just going to go. So obviously, I say these things, it's obvious it's going to go up, down, or sideways, but because of FOMC, there is a higher likelihood of going into an accumulation because the market will go into rotation and build a position ahead of FOMC. So there's more likelihood of going sideways, I think, than there is of going down. I think there's more likelihood of going sideways or up than down, but this is the euro. I just don't want to be long in it. Pound US dollar is the other thing that's really extended. Again, same situation with the pound US dollar as we've got with the euro US dollar. The pound is not happy. It's not having a good run at the moment. There's nothing coming out positive for the pound news-wise. We've got a rate increase coming on Wednesday. Sorry, wait now. Brain, come on, brain. Thursday, sorry. So again, unlikely to get a massive push off of that. More than likely what we'll get is a spike and drop. We will have had FOMC, we will have had an inkling as to what is happening with the US dollar. Much more likely the US dollar is going to push the pound back down again. Again, long term, yeah, same as the euro. You do not want to be really looking for longs. I'd rather be looking for shorts. If I'd be happier to hit the short button right now, even after this drop, and scale into a short position in deep drawdown, than I would to try and long this thing now, because this thing could just go hideously wrong. We got political issues going on at the moment. Europe and the NATO members all having issues with Ukraine. There's so many negative things at the moment which are going to more likely negatively impact a currency than positively impact most of these currencies. You just want to be shorting pretty much everything at the moment, and the thing that is likely to hold up is going to be the US dollar and the yen. So shorting kind of everything really, including indices, but at the moment I'm long. Anyway, so that's really nicely extended on the hourly. I think we will get a pullback on it of some kind, but you could be looking at 4 or 5 hours, and that's it. So more like a flag than a retracement. So just be careful if you're trying to get into that. The M5 reversal alert on that has just happened. So it's retesting at the moment quite nicely. So this is your entry right now. If you want to try and play a retracement long on it. And then obviously just be careful. Once you've pushed up to these highs, go break even on it. If you get taken out, you've lost nothing. If it does manage to do a retracement, happy days. You've got a zero risk trade. Not too bad. Stop loss on that one. So that's the pound. Whoa. Okay, watching these the US indices. The NAS has just hit the lows basically. So we're at critical point on the NAS, just retesting these lows. A lot of selling came in there, as you saw. It got absorbed very, very quickly, but as you can see, there's no selling pressure, and we're still pushing down. There's way, way, way more sellers in the market today than there are buyers. It's when are they going to run out? And I'll be just going to rotate today. Tricky Decision point this, so I keep flicking backwards and forwards between this because I just want to see what happens. I want to see some bullish price action coming through. All I keep seeing is bears, but we're not making massives of progress. The last 10 minutes, well, last 5 minutes rather, we saw a load of selling coming in there, but we haven't pushed down. We are pushing back up now on no buying pressure, so this is a good sign. Hopefully this is the end of that selling rally, and hopefully it was just people exiting positions and profit taking. We'll see. So yeah, pound US dollar, up to you. It is counter trend long. Bit risky, but it's also very, very extended, very exhausted. US dollar CAD. So this US dollar move that's got us on the US dollar yen basically extended up to that 135 level that they were looking for. This US dollar strength obviously is coming ahead of FOMC. So this could be the reach that they are looking for. So on the US dollar CAD, we got this level here. So there's a zone there with a load of liquidity sitting in it. 125 ADR. So, you know, as I said, ahead of FOMC, we either get that where they're just building a position ready to pounce, or we get them reaching for a level and then reversing. So you either get that move, or you get that accumulation type thing and then the move after it. So at the moment, the US dollar seems to be doing pretty well this morning. So if we can get continued extension up here, good mean reversion on the US dollar CAD. The Canadian dollar is very strong at the moment off the back of oil. I would suspect oil maybe has come down. Yeah. So this is why the CAD is a little weak at the moment. Oil prices are dropping. So that gives the US dollar CAD that little bit extra oomph. We've got no profit take whatsoever on this entire move. So every buyer in here is still in it. There's going to be a profit take move on this at some point. How far it's going to come back down, we don't know, obviously. But this is nicely extended. So good short opportunity. Dropping down to lower time frames. M5, wait for a reversal alert. Just taking out the highs of Asia at the moment, so the liquidity is all being run. Well, I say it's not really the highs of Asia, that's just the London Open really. So we've taken out yesterday's high. So if we're putting in that nice M pattern reversal here this morning, as soon as you get that reversal alert, you've got downside at least down to there, 125 ADR today. That would be the next level of obvious support. So it looks pretty good for a short, definitely. Loads of room down, loads of room down. And obviously if it decides that it wants to do a deep pullback on this, you're coming all the way back down here, back down to this level. So looks good for a short US dollar CAD, but short term, obviously ahead of FOMC, anything you get into with US dollar ahead of FOMC, you've got two decisions to make at FOMC. Do I want to hold through FOMC and fingers crossed I've got a 50-50 shot, I'm on the right side of it or the wrong side of it, or take it all off ahead of FOMC in case you're on the wrong side of it and you go into massive drawdown, or obviously you're going to get stopped out. So whatever you get into now, you want to be thinking short term, I'm going to get into this, I want to be out of it by mid-afternoon on Wednesday. And obviously be aware, obviously we've got PPI tomorrow afternoon as well. That's going to move the market too. And then we've got retail sales ahead of FOMC. So you've got really volatile 3 days, 2 days coming on the US dollar. But short term, yeah, this looks like a lovely little sell. Oh, DAX. So US indices are selling off way, way, way harder than the DAX at the moment. DAX is holding up really nicely. So you've seen all this selling that's been piling through down here. All the US indices are making really decent headway. We've got new lows broken. The DAX is holding an inside bar at the minute. And you see every time this selling stops, we're getting these retracements. So this is we can see there's buyers in the market. It's just that the selling tranches that are coming through are way, way, way stronger. eventually these sellers are just going to stop. When the sellers stop and we get any signs of trickles of buyers coming through, we're going to get some decent movement to the upside. But as long as this is all being absorbed at the moment on the DAX, it's looking good for a pop. But new lows basically on the US indices. So yeah, still very, very heavy market this morning. Back to break even basically on those three positions. So we'll keep an eye. So there's your hourlies. 4 hourlies, very similar. So on the hourlies we've got Aussie US, Euro US, Pound US, and US CAD. We've got those on the 4 hours as well. So obviously these are all also extended on the 4 hour. Again, massive push, zero profit taking in this. We had a tiny accumulation there, no profit take move. So this is due a pullback of some kind, whether it just be a partial pullback or whether we get a proper decent level of pullback on it, I don't know, but at the moment it's still going strong. So if we get up to these levels, if you get an ADR hit on these today, lovely short. I'd love to take a short up there. If we can get that extended ahead of FOMC, I think we're going to get some decent movement. But we got to say, we've got PPI, we've got retail sales, all coming before FOMC. So there's loads of opportunity for the market to pull back before FOMC happens. So looking really good, US dollar CAD for shorts. In fact, what I might do is stick a little pending up there. If we were to hit it, I'd be more than happy to get in up there, anywhere up there, because I think we'll get a really decent rejection off of that. Nice strong pullback. I don't think we're going to get there, but we'll see. So I won't cover those because we've obviously already covered those. If you look at them on the 4 hour, pound US dollar massively stuck down there. We've got this level to head for. Yeah, so that's your ultimate low. Euro US dollar, again, your ultimate lows all the way down there. And the Aussie US. Yeah, and this is all on the assumption that the US dollar has either neutral to positive news this week with PPI, retail, and FOMC is bullish. Obviously, if it's not, then all becomes undone. So, so New Zealand dollar, US dollar is the other thing that's extended on the 4 hour. Same as the Aussie, so don't trade both of these. Only take one or the other. It's pretty much the same thing. New Zealand US and Aussie US. We've had that nice pullback, but obviously, as you know, it's bearish. We've done a lovely pullback, and we're starting the next leg down. So there is potential for a pullback before the next push. Down here, potentially be looking for a nice double bottom. We're already extended. So again, this has got good opportunity for a small pullback. I would much rather be waiting for that kind of movement. So RSI to the upside and then looking to take short opportunities on it basically. But it is nicely extended at the moment to the downside. So you've got potential for a bounce. This area down here. So I'm just going with a full size position long on the DAX. I'm a little bit early, but I actually meant to put a buy stop in and it got triggered. So I'm a little bit early on that one, but got buyers starting to step in now. We've got bullish engulfings going in across the board on all indices. So this next candle is going to be key. Looking for some kind of inside bar or bullish move on this next 5 minute run. New Zealand dollar, US dollar. This area is where I'd be interested in. Very, very nice support. Multiple times and then turned into resistance. This is a great support resistance example. Yeah, we pulled down, support, tried again, bounced, tried again, bounced, slammed through it, came up, rejected it, came up, rejected it, bounced, rejected it, yeah, that is a strong support resistance. So if we get down to there, there's two ways you can look at these. Obviously, this is where potentially we might get that pullback starting. If you're a scalper, watch that like a hawk, that level. As soon as you see it break down below it or touch it or push back above it, scalp it. Yeah, these are great for scalping as well. But yeah, lovely little short opportunity, long opportunity there, very nicely extended. So dropping down to sort of M15, looking for a reversal alert, potentially M5, it's too far away really. But you've still got sort of quarter of an ADR, nearly half an ADR move to the downside before we get there, New Zealand US. So that's where I'll be looking on 4 hour for a trade. Want to see confluence, I want to see a level to take a trade at rather than just taking it because we're against the US dollar. There is potential for 2 positive news events on the US dollar before we even get to FOMC. So you just got to be very careful with the US this week. US dollar CAD we covered. So US dollar Swiss and US dollar yen. So US dollar yen I've already covered. This is the level we've been looking and waiting for, 135. We haven't had the reaction there. So I said there's going to be a load of limit orders at 135. What we're seeing here at the moment is just those limit orders triggering off of 135. So they came up, they hit it, limit orders triggered immediately. They pushed through it. Everybody that's triggered the limit orders has pushed it back down again. So all we're seeing at the moment is the initial reaction at 135. We haven't had a cascade of sellers entering. It is way more bearish, so market structure definitely has shifted short. Yeah, we are definitely short, bearish market structure now. But it's not massive, is it? And we've got news events, obviously, which are going to potentially upset the apple cart. So US dollar yen, yeah, very, very nicely extended, but obviously this is the yen. We need some strength off the yen. US dollar Swiss just hit its monthly as well, which is nice because I'm just coming on to US dollar Swiss. So this thing's going full tilt at the moment. I suspect we've got weak Swiss franc at the moment. I can't tell because everything's so weak. No, you can't tell. Yeah, no, this is US dollar strength still at the moment. So, yeah, US dollar Swiss. This is where I said we were looking for the longs. If you've got in and you've held it, if you're swinging, brilliant, you're in it. But yeah, levels, we're looking at these areas here. So all these propulsion gaps basically. Anywhere up here we're going to start to run into some trouble. The Swiss franc had its strength, it's lost its strength again. We've got the Swiss conference coming up this week as well. So again, loads of volatility. Anything that's really massively extended, if we get positive news, you'll typically only get a spike off of it because the market is so exhausted already. You won't find there's too many people that can buy it, and if they see it going this far up, people that are already in it will start to sell it. And this is why we get the market sort of rolling over like that, because you get to the point where everyone that's long is just like, oh, I've just got made so much money, I'm not going to take it anymore, and they start selling their positions and getting out and profit taking, and then we roll over into a sell cycle. So at some point we're going to get a pullback on this back down into this area here as a kind of worst case scenario, maybe even a little deeper, but long term would be long on it. So this is where we want to be buying it down here, started buying it up, and off it goes. Beautiful 72 bounce. Really textbook that one. Off the 72. So yeah, it's extended. Yes, you can start taking some shorts. Oh, typical. When I get in with a full size position, immediately start selling. So looking for this to hold basically. This candle is an inside bar. So you probably hear a load of banging going on now because my tiler's turned up to do the floor. So there was a little bit of selling coming in there, but not actually making any headway south. So yeah, these buyers are starting to get control now, which is good. Let's see. So US dollar Swiss, short-term pullback long. I'll be looking more for longs than shorts. Don't really like this as a short. Swiss franc has been massively weak. We had a big correction. I'd be seeing continuation moves to the upside. Again, all dependent on the US dollar. And at the moment, as I keep saying with this market, the market is all over the place at the moment. Stuff that should be strong is weak. Stuff that should be weak is strong. Everything is being affected by interest rates. Everything is being affected by oil. Everything is being affected by the Ukraine crisis. Cost of living is continuing to rise. We've got grain export issues coming out of Ukraine. There's a knock-on effect coming, and the Fed keeps saying they're not expecting a recession. They're the only ones. Everyone else is just like, yeah, it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse before it gets better. And that is not going to be good for the economy. People spend less money. Currencies start to deflate until they get to a point where it actually becomes effective to spend money again, and then they start going up. But we've got a long down to come before we get an up. So the only currencies I can see that are potentially going to be able to withstand that are going to be the US dollar and the yen. And the yen is in all sorts of trouble at the moment. So the FX markets are just so hard to read, which is why, as I say, the position trading side of me is very inactive at the minute. But I am going to start taking some more positions. I'm just waiting for things to calm down a little bit more. But position trading still works, obviously. You've just got to be aware. You've got to get out of stuff. Yeah, if you're seeing this sort of thing happening, you've got to get out of some of this stuff. Here comes the banging. You've got to get out of some of this stuff, basically, and take losses on it. There's nothing you can do if you get into a squeeze like that. So, and at the moment, the way things are going, I'd be happy to take as many shorts as possible, not against on the US dollar, but on anything else. The key things, if you want a position trade at the moment, I would be looking for euros and pounds, and shorting every opportunity you get on the euros and the pounds, because these guys are stuffed. And even if the euro does start to recover, which potentially it can do when rates start to go up in July, you're going to see it be such a gradual thing, and you're going to get all the other currencies pushing against it. So you're going to get that nice market structure movement. So wherever you get in, you should be able to get out. More selling coming through on the DAX, well, on the US indices rather. So we just rejected those highs again. So this inside bar is holding at the minute. Lots of indecision. So 61.8's holding up at the minute, but kind of feels heavy, doesn't it? Potentially next leg down on the US. Anybody got any other pairs they want to look at specifically this morning? Gold. Let's gold up to. So gold. Somebody wanted to look at gold earlier, didn't they? Just draw my support in again. So yeah, gold. Basically, we are in this this sort of accumulation that we had down here. So this area here is kind of where we were happy to transact gold for a long time. We had that initial rally out with the war, etc., and pull back, and now we're just basically sitting on these highs. So I would expect gold to hold its own, but I wouldn't expect it to be a big push to the upside long term, purely because I think we'll see some strength coming through on that US dollar, which will hold the gold price down. But I kind of see a kind of slow grinding channel on it, a little bit like this. I think, wow, that's really selling off now, typical. I'm going to stop out on that full size position. We might go into a horrible rangey thing here. So gold, I think, probably grinding up. So I'd be looking more for longs than shorts on it. But obviously gold is mainly affected by US news. You know, you get these ridiculous moves off of US news. So I would sort of position myself long when you can, ready for spikes. Held up very nicely down there, held up very nicely up there. And you know, we see this a lot with gold at the moment, this range bound activity. So overall, at the minute, it's kind of in a slight downtrend, but it's also slightly uptrending. It's very difficult to read gold, very difficult. It used to have a life of its own. At the moment, it's not. Gold is no longer a safe haven in times of crisis. It proved that there. Everyone was like, knee-jerk reaction, oh no, hang on a minute, who holds most gold? Russia. You know, it's one of those instruments now which I think has lost its appeal. But still, it's precious metal, it's in demand, it's used in a lot of IT components, we are massively short of, so I think it will just continue to grind up. Sort of continuing its previous sort of, you know, that sort of action from here. So I'll just be looking to buy lows basically. Short term, no idea. After this, I'm short. I'll be looking to get long in somewhere down there. Right, that's all I got for you for this morning. So it's a bit of a shortish one this morning. My voice is about to give up on me. Looks like the market has already given up on me. So 0.7 down this morning. 0.8 so far. About to stop out on this position. I still like it long. I still think we have got an up day coming. So I'm looking for signs of strength on the indices. So I don't think we're going to get down to here today. You never know. I mean, we've seen nutty days before. Nutty days don't tend to come after crazy drops, but who the hell knows at the moment. So I'm looking to buy this up. I'm looking for some bullish price action. Maybe this gap isn't going to be done today. In which case, obviously, we'll be looking at probably FOMC maybe to push the indices. So if we get that strong US dollar off of FOMC or if any of the news releases, we're going to see negative index movement. So if we can get negative movement anytime this week, tomorrow or on Wednesday morning for retail sales and PPI, we'll see the positive movement. So we're kind of a little bit reliant on what the US dollar is going to do with the indices as well. So I'm still looking for longs, looking to buy up the lows. In hindsight, should have taken that 1% off, which was a bit silly, but didn't. So what I'm going to look to do is, if I can get a position built and get back up to there, I'll get rid of today's losses, build up a 0.8, go flat, and then I will look to scale into longs. So wrong way this morning. Well, I got the right way this morning, I just didn't take profit on it, which is a bit silly, but we'll see. So looking at these lows, going to watch these lows, obviously, if the DAX gets back down here. This could well just be a deep pullback, in which means, you know, sort of a gradually increasing range, which case you want to be buying it up right here. But we'll see. But if you're in the signal group, any other trades I'll take this morning will all be put in there anyway. But that's the plan. So I'm just going to put a buy stop. It's a bit wide actually. I go 600 with 0.5% above that last low. So that will be adding another 0.5% onto this 0.5% on positive movement. I want to see some real good buying coming through though. At the moment we're just getting nothing but the odd sell flurry. Looking to get up there. Okay, I'll be back tomorrow morning at 7:50 usual time. My Tyler's here for a few days, so it might be noisy for a few days, unfortunately. But I'll be putting in the Telegram anything else that I'm looking at or that I see. And obviously today you haven't got to worry about any news. And tomorrow morning there's nothing either. So it's just US dollar tomorrow afternoon. So we'll be interested to see what happens with these index sell-offs at the minute. We've done a lot of movement already here today. So I get a feeling this initial push down pre-market was possibly the low of the day. That's what I'm banking on at the moment. So if I do see some positive movement back above these highs, I think we've got a really good chance of going red to green today and putting in one of these. This is where we are now. Yeah, I think we've got a good chance of a red to green today. 4 solid down days and a downward push at the open of day 5. It's cheap. It's very cheap. Okay, yeah, so sorry about my voice this morning. Fingers crossed it gets better soon. Yeah, anything you need, I'll be in the Telegram group. And obviously I'll update any analysis as the day goes on, but you can see what I'm looking for today. If we break these lows, however, I will be changing my mind, but that's what I'm looking for the rest of the morning, hopefully. Okay guys, anything you need, come in the Telegram group. I will be in there. Otherwise, I will see you tomorrow morning, 7:50. Hopefully have a good day.